Funding for Avery Talks About Stuff was made possible in part by the YouTube AdSense program and by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you!
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I cover nostalgic, obscure, otherwise strange content. Today, it is a new year, and I'm going to celebrate by trying to rapid-fire cover all the things that I didn't get to cover for the holidays. The holidays are such a great time of year, whatever you celebrate or if you celebrate nothing at all. For me, it is a very busy time of year. I just barely managed to get my one video a week quota out this month. And there were a lot of things like every single year that I didn't get to cover that I really wanted to. So I'm going to cover a few of them, batch record today. You're going to see me in this for the next few videos. And we're just going to have like a late holiday celebration, guys. Today I want to start with a special for a holiday that I don't personally celebrate, a Rugrats Hanukkah. I posed a question to some of our Jewish viewers on livestream one time. What is a good Hanukkah special, or like, is that a thing? Like, are there good holiday specials for Hanukkah? And overwhelmingly everybody said a Rugrats Hanukkah was like probably the best we've got. So I have been trying to cover it since last holiday season, and I really want to be able to check it off the list. So I don't really know much about Hanukkah, having never celebrated it, but I'm told that this special is designed to teach young children about Hanukkah in a way that isn't patronizing. So feels like exactly the thing that I would need. Let us begin. By the way, it was really hard to find Rugrats Hanukkah. I really hate how streaming services are like super gatekeepy of like all of these specials that we grew up with and that are very like traditional and important to people, especially since from what I hear there aren't many Hanukkah specials. What the fuck, Paramount? I'm absolutely calling you out, Paramount Plus.
The Jewish people lived happily with their neighbors, the ancient Greeks. There came a new king of the Greeks, who wanted everyone to be just like him.
Yeah, that's kind of been the way of the world, unfortunately. New old dude gets power and just wants everything to be the way that he wants it to be. So the special goes on to explain, I'm speaking directly to my fellow Gentiles here. The special goes on to explain how Jewish people were forced into converting from their beliefs by the Greek king.
Some people thought this new way of life was fine.
Hail Lydian! Hail Philistine!
But others didn't.
I love how already we're only like a minute in, and already it's so Rugrats, but it's also really educational in a very Rugrats way. I love it.
A Maccababy's gonna do what a Maccababy's gonna do!
A Maccababy.
So now we flash to the modern day Rugrats, and we see that they've been listening to a story. I'm gonna be real with you. I've never actually watched that much Rugrats. I don't really know anybody's name. I wasn't allowed to watch it as a kid. I was homeschooled.
Finally! Now I can watch my Christmas special in peace.
Oh god, it's like a Karen in the making. Get all your non-Christmas stuff out of the way of my Christmas.
We fry these and sometimes donuts to remind us of the oil used in the miracle of Hanukkah.
The miracle is these things have clogged our people's arteries for 2,000 years, yet we survive.
As a southern woman, I think about that all the time. Okay, but fried food is so good. What's a little clogged artery?
I gewalt! They use Shlomo's picture instead of mine. Ever since we were young, he always tried to outdo me. I caught a smelt, he caught a sturgeon. I caught a cold, he caught a pneumonia.
I hate it when people try to upstage me.
And these monies don't taste as good as the ones under the couch.
Meanwhile, the kids are snacking.
Look! Wow! What is it? I don't know.
It's so funny because while this isn't the tradition that I grew up with, I think everybody can relate to being a kid and trying to understand traditions from a kid's point of view, especially if you grew up in a religious household of any kind, trying to understand like why the religious ceremony is the way that it is.
But every night I have to wear a funny hat while Grandpa Boris says some stuff I don't understand, but then I get a present. Maybe they're having all your birthdays at the same time. Yeah, they feel all grown up now and you gotta get a job. I don't feel all grown up.
Yep, that's what being an adult feels like. Okay, I do know you're not supposed to blow out the candles. Don't do that.
Those candles aren't for Tommy's birthday. Those are for Hanukkah. You have to when you say it.
Hanukkah. Did I say it right?
I thought the rabbi just wanted the thing fixed for the end of the Hanukkah play, Stu.
I know, Pop, but I want Tommy to be proud of his heritage. I want to show Dee Dee I'm really supportive of Hanukkah.
Aw, what a good boy.
I just hope he isn't doing anything inappropriate.
Oh, has Stu entered our himbo husband ranks? I think he might have.
You go on ahead, Deed. It needs a few minor adjustments. I'll meet you over at the church.
It's a synagogue, Hanukkah boy.
It's a synagogue, Hanukkah boy. God bless.
Tonight, after Santa versus the alien, it's Cynthia and a very Cynthia Christmas.
Is this how you guys feel watching this channel all the time?
I had to play with that meanie at daycare once. Oh, what happened? First he made me lick the slide, and then he hung me from the monkey bars.
Childhood trauma in the making.
We've got to put the menial Chanukah down for a nap. What kind of bobo head makes pancakes out of potatoes?
But potato pancakes are so good, Angelica.
I win!
Just step on all the donuts for good measure, that's fine.
Lowell Onstein will be playing the part of the village kvetch.
Village kvetch? You said I'd be playing the king.
Aw, that's rough. Happens to the best of us, dude.
I can't believe how slow this traffic is moving.
Celebrating a holiday in the middle of a holiday that everybody chooses to recognize more prominently than yours. That must be so frustrating, but it's the fact that it's being handled with humor is very, very funny.
Ah, so you want to know more about the Torah?
Huh?
Ooh, the Torah. We're gonna learn about the Torah.
You know, the Torah is almost 3,000 years old, and...
But I wanted to learn about the Torah.
You! I broke a shin because of you!
The Band-Aid on the costume, though. The grandma sitting there knitting during the play, I love it so much. As a person who crochets and has ADHD, I feel it in my soul.
I command you to stop!
March!
Okay, but if this happened in real life, this would be adorable. A bunch of babies just trying to avenge Hanukkah. Oh man, we all landed in the clink.
The onlyest thing a grown-up needs is a TV! And I know right where you can find one.
I'm convinced Angelica's gonna be a criminal when she grows up.
You and me, old man, right now!
Fight, 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 fight.
Sadie and I, may she rest in peace, but never blessed my children. All I had was my fancy pants business.
This is so sad, I want to cry now.
Here, I got no one to share our tradition with anyway.
Oh no!
Here, you be king.
Oh, but the actor guy gets to be king.
To be or Maccabee?
No, dude, wrong king. Well, he incorporated it. I don't know, is that allowed?
Oh, that's my soft spot! Your whole head is a soft spot.
That's a solid burn. Solid one-liner.
Oi!
This poor guy did not sign up to deal with a bunch of screaming babies. Thinking that they are dealing with the real king of Greece, they surround this poor man who's already overloaded.
1 minute I'm trying to go home, and the next thing, I'm up to my dentures in Kinderlach.
I would start crying at this point if I was this guy. It's just like, there's too many children. There's too many crying children. I don't know what to do.
The people of Israel had a difficult task, and their beautiful menorah, which was supposed to burn forever, was broken and its flame put out. A menorah is like the nightlight of our people. In times of darkness, it shines in the whole world, reminding us not to be afraid to be different, but to be proud who we are.
Aw, that's a beautiful definition. I love that.
But the Greeks had left only enough oil to burn in the menorah for one night.
This is the part of the Hanukkah story that I do know.
But one day went by, and then another, and another.
The menorah was only supposed to burn for one night, but it burned for 8 nights. And so every year, the menorah is lit to celebrate the 8 nights. He's here, guys, they're here.
And so ends our little play.
Don't drop the baby.
Look, Tommy, the baby and your grandpa Boris are playing nice.
Oh my god, that is the cutest possible way it could have ended. Before we get into the wrap-up of this video, I just wanted to read a post that was left by Audrey Smith. They are a Jewish viewer who's been in our community for over a year now, and I believe they were the first person to ever recommend this special. And when I asked the community, those of you who grew up with this special, to share your thoughts on it, Audrey had this to say. Rugrats is one of my favorite shows and one of the only cartoons I watched as a kid, and I think the Rugrats Hanukkah and Passover specials might actually have been the reason I got into the show. My family didn't really get TV until I was 6 or 7, and I think probably those specials were the reason I had Rugrats episodes on VHS in the first place. I think I watched more Shalom Sesame than Sesame Street for that reason. I don't think I ever saw any other shows as a kid that did specials for just Hanukkah rather than part of a mostly Christmas one. Granted, I didn't watch a ton of kids shows. Mostly, I just remember Arthur, where Francine celebrates Hanukkah. It always felt like, kids, this is something other people do, and you should learn about it, while I'm sitting there being other people. Apparently, that has changed. They had a whole bunch on Disney Plus this year, and the ones I watched ranged from terrible, the new Muppet Babies, to actually really good Firebuds Hanukkah Hullabaloo. I say this probably every time I mention it, but the Rugrats special felt like it was for me. As a Jewish kid, when both TV and honestly also public school was mostly my culture being educational opportunity for other kids, which, yeah, it is good for people to learn about other cultures, and sometimes it is really fun, both as a kid and as adult, getting to share and teach other people about your culture and traditions like this. It can get really tiring and othering when it's all the time, and it sucks when instead of doing the teaching myself or having someone else Jewish do it, it's people who aren't Jewish either getting things wrong or at best leaving out really important things or focusing on things that aren't that important. People leave out the whole fighting forced assimilation thing and instead focus on the oil miracle, which is also important, but not the actual historical part and only half the holiday at most. Really, I'd take having to be the person who explains Hanukkah to my class every year if it meant getting past the dreidel song and a telling of the oil miracle that includes the fact that the reason there wasn't enough oil was because our temple got smashed. The focusing on wrong things thing is also why the existence of a Passover special makes me like the Hanukkah one better. Since the main reason non-Jews put focus on Hanukkah is that they assume it's of similar importance to Christmas when it's not even in the Torah. Passover is much more important, so the show celebrating that too kind of retroactively makes the Hanukkah special feel like a better representation in terms of like the fact of its existence. Adriel also goes on to say about the history of the holiday. Here's a fun history thing about the oil miracle versus the winning against the forces of a much more powerful empire thing. As best I can remember from college/check on Google, after the Maccabees defeated the Greeks, they apparently formed a family of landed priests. Became the Hasmonean dynasty. However, unfortunately, as time went on, the Hasmoneans not only were controversially Hellenistic themselves, they also kind of sucked in other ways, some of which involved killing a lot of people, which led to the oil miracle being much more of a focus, possibly even its conception, though there might be some historical text somewhere that disproves the chronology. And also is probably part of why Hanukkah was historically a fairly minor holiday, because celebrating a Hasmonean victory was not a good look. My dad taught kindergarten at our temple for 18 years and has learned probably more than I did getting my minor during the research he does when he goes down a rabbit hole writing lesson plans. He's also just really into Jewish theology and ancient medieval Jewish history, and long discussions with him since I was a kindergartner are probably the reason I'm so interested in those myself. Shout out to Adriel's dad. And one thing he told me about was the connection between Hanukkah and the more important Sukkot, which also lasts 8 days, kind of more like 7.5 depending on who you ask. It's weird, and post-exile diasporic Judaism has a weird thing with festival lengths sometimes. During the war, the temple was defiled, hence the oil problem, and the Jews couldn't celebrate Sukkot. So after they got the temple back, they had a kind of make-up Sukkot. Brief research tells me that this is the story of the first Hanukkah without the oil miracle. That is presented in the second book of Maccabees, which is presumably the most historically correct. I have not read either the first or the second book of Maccabees, though. I also just really enjoyed Adriel's sharing of personal traditions for Hanukkah, like a latke party. That sounds fantastic. Making chocolate jelts filled with raspberry filling, which sounds phenomenal. And they also recommend looking up more than just the one verse that we all know from the dreidel song, which I did, and they're pretty interesting.
Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. I made it out of sand. But when I tried to spin it crumbled in my hand.
Thank you, Adriel. You were the first person who told me about this. I'm so grateful that you're part of our community. Thank you for sharing your culture with us this year. And yeah, back to past version me to wrap up this video. Without knowing much about this holiday, I 100% understand why overwhelmingly this was the Hanukkah special. And I'm sorry that it's late. I'm sorry that we're going to do a few holiday things a little bit late, but I wanted to acknowledge those in the Jewish community that support our channel. There are obviously many different holidays to celebrate during this season, and Christmas is what I grew up with, so that's what I tend to share with you guys, but I don't want anybody to feel left out. I hope I've been able to do a little bit of justice to this special, and I hope all of you who celebrated had a wonderful Hanukkah, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing. Everything you do to support this channel means the world to me. If you're new here and you're a fan of nonsense, maybe consider sticking around. I post nonsense all the time. If you'd like to enable my nonsense, maybe consider becoming a member and get extra perks. But remember, my name is Avery. I'm a YouTuber who say so because thanks to you guys, this is technically a YouTube channel. Happy belated Hanukkah!